Ugh. No, I still got a drink. All right. Does everyone have a snack or something? You ready? I think I'm ready. He is Blyven. He is. He's dedicated. I'm happy for it. It gives me something to watch, like, all the time. Alright, so let's get started on this. Expected changes, ability buffs. So let's go over the ability buffs. Yeah, I just used some in a couple of those fights. The first that we'll go over is the increased soul break generation. That abilities now give us. Ranging all the way from 1st star rarity to 6th star rarity. But with a little caveat that everything was increased on like a baseline. And everything was kind of weird before. Some things at 4-star were doing, you know, different soul break gains. But now everything is standardized, which is nice. Makes it easier for us to determine what needs to be done for, you know, time-sensitive situations like 30-second magicite clearing. But anyway, 1st star, give you 60 each, 2-star, 60 each, 3-star, 65, 75, 80, 90. But there is a difference now that did not exist before, is that when you're exploiting elemental weakness, you get a negative modifier. So, say like in that fight, I was exploiting elemental weakness with Snow Spell Strike versus Ruby Dragon. Normally that would be 90 soul break points. And while exploiting elemental weakness, that would improve that to 135 because it's a 50% increase. So plus 45 on top of 90, 135. So close to a life siphon. But it doesn't actually work like that because of the elemental decrease. They don't want you getting too much soul break, I guess. It's meant as just a little bit of a limiter. So you're actually generating 80 soul break points, which means 50% on top of that would be 120. So it's something. It's a bit of a decrease, but 120 soul break points versus the 150 of life siphon. Most situations, you're probably gonna take the damage of a 6-star ability over life siphon. 5-star, it gets a little different because now you're looking at a baseline of 80, move down to 70. So 70 plus 35 is 105. 105 versus a 150, that's a bit more of a difference. And that actually requires you to say, okay, which one of these would I prefer? Do I really need that soul break generation, or would I rather deal the damage and, you know, take advantage of dual casting legend materia, you know, plus damage in my legend spheres and record spheres and stuff like that. Yes, because Wrath and Life Siphon were unchanged, it is sort of a backdoor nerf to those skills. Is Life Siphon becoming obsolete? No. No, it is not. Because there is a big difference between 105 soul break points and 150. An entire hit received in a fight is 50 soul break points. So as you saw in my in my Shadow Dragon fight, I needed to get hit. Sid Reigns needed to get hit once by the boss to generate 50 soul break points so he could use his burst soul break in time. There is always going to be situations like that where you need to make the decision whether or not you need that extra 50. So sometimes Life Siphon will be useful, sometimes it won't be. But 6-star, I think, is the important part. The 6-star change is 120 versus 150. So if you use it 3 times, you generate 60 over the 100. That's probably not the best way to put that. So you do 120, 120, 120. That'll give you 360. So you only need to be hit 3 times during the course of those 3 hits. Where if you use a 5-star ability 3 times, 105, 105, 105, now you need to be hit 4 times. So there's a big difference there. In order to use a Soul Break on 4th turn. Also, there is another modifier. They're trying to limit the effectiveness of ninjas. They try and they fail, but there is another -5 added on to things that fast cast. This doesn't affect burst commands, by the way. This is just regular abilities that fast cast, like ninja abilities. And Celerity and Thief. Right. High rarity, Celerity, Thief, and ninja abilities also give less points than others because of their particularly low cast times. But ninjas are still awesome, so pirates suck. Let's go over the ability changes themselves. To Black Magic, we have 2 6-star changes. One to Ultima, which goes from 3 hits to 3 hits, but increase in multiplier. It's no longer a 12.0 multiplier total. It's a 13.5. I'm going to be aiming for at least an R4 Meltdown, and possibly R5, depending. Yeah, I mean, like, if I ever ended up with Creel USB. Hello, Kappa. Creel's USB is a rank-based chase. So she gets a higher chase, a higher rank it is, and Meltdown itself is the best fire ability in the game, so you would settle for Chain Faraka, but you want an R5 Meltdown. That'll be something that I want to work for later in the game, so Ultima, unfortunately for me, still isn't useful enough to make it worth honing until Meltdown is R5. And then absolutely, I'll go and do some stuff to Ultima. But speaking of Meltdown, number of hits goes from 3 to 4, and the multiplier per hit is reduced to offset it, so it's actually only a 0.1 multiplier increase. It is just increasing the hits to 4 hits, so it doesn't get outpaced by Chain Faraka. Chain Faraka has an 11.8 multiplier over 4 hits. Meltdown is a 14.8, which makes it clearly much better. Also, the quick cast changes are only abilities that innately quick cast, correct. So Flare gets a really big change. It goes from the completely and utterly useless 1 hit to 5 hits. And of course the multiplier was reduced to offset that. But not so much that it made it the same multiplier like it did with Meltdown. It goes from 12 and 1 hit to 13.25 over 5 hits. Is it worth making? Is it worth keeping? In one situation alone, Vivi. Vivi can actually be a viable non-elemental mage with Flare, because Vivi isn't locked to an element. He definitely favors fire, but he ability doubles Black Magic, which is kind of just gross. So he can cast Flare twice, making, you know, every turn of his 26.5 multiplier. It's pretty fantastic. Over 10 hits. So Flare is really not good unless your name is Vivi. Meteor goes from 1 hit to 6 hits, or 3 hits. Sorry, 6 hits. and gets a multiplier boost from 9 to 10.5. I still don't think it's going to be good for much of anything other than clearing trash and potentially Sid missions. Can he do it 3 times, trance included? Yeah, with his trance mode, it does give him a 50% chance to dual cast. So yes, VV could potentially triple cast Flare, which would be 39.75. That is an OSB. That's an OSB. And it would be over 15 hits, so it's better than an OSB. Because over 15 hits means the damage cap for him would be 150,000 damage, which is a higher damage cap than an overflow. He's not going to hit that, but it's neat to think about. Anyway, Meteor is probably still not good, but I'll talk about all these together. The chains, going from 2 to 4 hits, and unchanged multiplier. It's just to modernize it. And it's a really good change. It's a really good change, and it kind of removes a lot of burst commands from being effective or useful anymore. Because the 5-star abilities are just better in every way. They do more damage, same amount of hits, and generate more soul break. Because, as I said above, burst soul breaks, soul break generation is unchanged, which means it's 50 per command. 50 is a huge difference from 70. 70 gives you 105 soul break points each when exploiting vulnerability, and burst commands give you 75. That's a big difference. That's a big difference. Burst commands are definitely... The good ones are few and far between now. And I've been singing that line for a while now, and I hope people haven't been over-prioritizing burst soul breaks. There are still good ones in the game. They still do things that are useful, but far from what they used to be. White Magic. Ultra Cure is now just preferred over Curaja in any situation that you can use it. Because now the cast time is as low as Curaja's. So it heals the same way, except it looks cooler, and it as soon as if you need it. Holy is in about the same park as Flare, but Holy is a hell of a lot more useful than Flare, because exploiting vulnerability is a thing. So Holy goes from 1 hit to 5, but multiplier unchanged, which is fine. It gives it a 12.0, which puts it in line with the chain. So it really is the white magic version of, the elemental chains for black magic. And that's really good. And it's the animation is awesome. We're actually gonna... Is it on the wiki? I wouldn't even know where to look for it on the wiki. So I'll show it later, because I have it on one of my characters. Okay, combat changes. Crush down 2 to 3 hits. Okay. The cast time is reduced. Thank goodness. 1.8 is ridiculous. Who should be using Holy now? Arc. Arc and Onion Knight, if you need holy damage from the Onion Knight for whatever reason. Anybody else? Not really. People that can buff their mind. Vanille. Vanille now has a 4-hit option as an offensive white mage. It's really not that good until we get to the new era of offensive white mages, which will be Minwu, Arc, and Rem. But as of right now in global, it's just Arc, who has the burst soul break that gives him Unholy. I believe he is the only person. Well, nope. Yuna also gets a soul break that gives her Unholy. it also has access to White Magic 5. But Eunice is a regular Soul Break, and I'm pretty sure it's just like a single hit, if it even does damage at all. So it's really just Arc. Beatrix is at 2 left field. Yeah. You would have to build her for Mind, and I don't think she can use stabs. It'd be hard to get Beatrix up. And she has a low base Mind. Yeah, if only Hope had White Magic 5, that would be another Holy user, absolutely. Okay, so combat, crush down 2 to 3 hits. Multiplier per hit is reduced, so the multiplier grows from 3.2 to 3.6. So 3.6, area of effect. Certainly worthy of a 6-star ability. Yeah, we can still forget about crush down. Just like Ultima. Barrage goes from 4 to 4. Multiplier increases. Barrage used to be a 2.8 multiplier. My goodness, is that an aged ability. But it being 4 hits and a 4.0 multiplier means that Barrage is, I guess, the poor man's option for Cloud USB if you're unable to hone up Omega Drive. And you're not able to exploit elemental weakness with Cloud's vast array of elemental abilities. I don't know. I wouldn't say Barrage is worth owning. Utilize his elements or wait for a Mega Drive. Full charge versus Omega Drive is this. Omega Drive is 90, full charge is 80. Okay, so next full charge gets a slight damage increase. Where do you use full charge these days? Noctis? With his quick casting? Who else has non-elemental quick casting that could make good use of full charge? Well, Master could, but Master could definitely use monk abilities a hell of a lot better. So, really, is full charge, like, dead outside of Sid missions? Pop, thank you very much. Zell? I guess. Zell's BSB1 isn't as good as it used to be. Yeah, but for who, Stormer? It's not good by itself. It doesn't do any damage. I suppose if you need to do non-elemental with somebody, but I don't know. Furium with his USB? No, not really. So yeah, I'm actually just gonna say, I mean, this change doesn't do anything. I'm for some reason I'm talking about the viability of full charge, even though the ability wasn't changed in a talk that's about ability balance changes. Full charge is actually on my list of stuff to shatter. But, yeah, like I said, it is still useful in Sid missions. I have used it there, so maybe not. I like my good Sid mission stuff. Okay, support, quadruple foul. Goes from 2 to 4 hits, interesting. 3 to 4.0 multiplier, and you can increase extra statuses. 6-star abilities are still kind of difficult to create, and a quadruple foul is just not worth it. Affliction Break is so much better. It's actually super useful. inflicting statuses is just never going to be a part of this game, I don't think. Unless they, you know, maybe they'll evolve to that point later in the game, but as far as we know, 4.5 months into the future, that still isn't a reality. So, whatever. This balance increase doesn't really do anything for it. Celerity, Northern Cross goes from 2 hits to 4 hits. Ooh. But the multiplier is unchanged, and that is a problem. Because the two statuses that it inflicts, stop and interrupt, aren't really all that useful. And there's the problem here with Celerity is that there's another Celerity ability that's a hell of a lot better. So it's 30% over 2 hits, which would be, you know, 2 times 30 or 4 times 17, which works out to be about the same. So really, Northern Cross just gets buffed from 2 to 4 hits. That's it. Still not worth making, in my opinion. Quick hit, number of hits goes from 1 to 2, 2.4 multiplier. Quick hit is still like a soul break generation ability because it has no cast time, but a low multiplier. The biggest change to quick hit, because 2 hits doesn't really matter that much, is that. Oh no, it's fast cast. So it's actually just 75 soul break points instantly. It's an option, but I think like most of the people that have access to quick hit would rather be using something else, like ninjas, for instance, have a lot of elements at their disposal, so they can exploit vulnerability quickly to generate soul break. I think quick hit's still kind of janky. Not really feeling it. Power chain goes from 1 to 2 hits. This change does nothing for Power Chain, but Power Chain's not a bad ability to begin with. I don't really use it anymore outside of Sid missions, but this is an ability that I do think I could find a use for in the future. For someone like Orlando. I mean, giving yourself a charge of instant cast for the next turn is useful in ways. I have stopped using Power Chain a lot, though. But anyway, moving it from 1 to 2 hits is not a change worth even mentioning. Summoning is some big changes going on here. Odin is changed the most. He goes from 1 hit to 2 hits. Same multiplier, though. Status infliction chance goes from 99% to 100. Woo! But that's instant KO, which, you know, doesn't really mean anything at all. But here's the big change, is that it causes a new effect of defense and resistance minus 20% for 25 seconds. If debuffs were, you know, worth a damn, that would be pretty cool. But they're not. And this is a non-elemental summon, so it's not really that useful other than for the causing this this status. Because look at Bahamut. Bahamut is also non-elemental, and he's 3 hits for a 16.5 multiplier over a 12.0. Yeah, you know what? I'll take that 4.5 and extra hit any day. I don't really see where Odin fits into the current game. I hate this. And I know a lot of people probably have summoning or summon orbs, like burning a hole in their pocket. So you're like, well, why wouldn't I own this? Because, you know, I've got nothing else to use it on. Well, look below. We got some pretty big buffs for summons, and we just received Ogopogo, which is a powerful 5-star summon. We're getting Medine, which is a powerful 5-star holy summon. And Titan moves from 2 to 3 hits for a 15.0 multiplier. That's very strong earth damage. And Ultima Weapon goes from 2 to 3 hits and a 15.0 multiplier. That's very strong dark damage. And if you want to do non-elemental, 16.5 over 3 hits is pretty damn good too. So there's actually a lot of summon options now. Bahamut, Titan, Ultima Weapon, Ogopogo, Tiamat, and Nadine are all actually quite good and worthy of your summon orbs, depending on your situation. Okay, I'm gonna take a look at chat for a second. I see some questions. Do the changes to the summon abilities substantially affect how you would use Alphinaud's Ultra or Rydia Ultra? Rydia's Ultra, no. Rydia's Ultra, you still want to just use Ogopogo because you get, it's really based upon its end water. And the party buff is, useful against any element, but I don't think just bringing her for a party buff and then trying to dual cast out summons is really, I guess so. Maybe, party buff and dual casting summons. It's probably worth something. It's not bad by any means, but I think with Alphinaud's Ultra, yes, it does. It makes that a much better because Alphinaud's Ultra is a damage packet at the end of the X mode. It does damage based upon what you did during the X mode. So it's effectively an all elemental X mode because the damage pack at the end is damage based upon how much damage you do. So if you're exploiting elemental weakness, that makes the damage packet at the end better. I think users of Alphinaud's Ultra are very, very happy with this change. Yes, Alphinaud, because of his end win on his USB, is always going to be more useful as a Tiamat user, but he can, because of Neo Bahamut. I think you need Neo Bahamut if you want to do some really good non-elemental, but Bahamut can do the trick if you need it. But it's really Titan, Ultima Weapon, Ogopogo, Tiamat, Nadine, and Valigarmanda. Yes, you will definitely need Nadine for Yuna's Ultra too, because she dual casts summons with her LMR too. So, summoning changes are really nice. They're actually really nice. Now we're moving to Spellblades. I just came out of the Final Fantasy VIII Torment and made use of the... I don't get it. Yes, the 2 to 4 hits is absolutely essential, but for some reason they decided to increase the multiplier of Snow Spell Strike, so now it's 0.2 more obscene. Snow Spell Strike is one of the best 6 stars in the game. Hands down. Now, Flare Strike gets the same treatment that Flare did. It goes from 1 hit, which was unusable, to 5 hits. Woe to those people that shattered their Flare Strike. If you were one of the few people that made it to begin with. So the multiplier moves from 3 to 4. Who uses Flare Strike? Bartz? See, the reason why I only mentioned Bartz rather than other Spellblades is that Bartz is a better Spellblade than anybody. And I still think he's on the bubble of being an effective non-elemental user with Flare Strike. So anyone beneath him, probably not worthy of consideration. Because, remember, this is only a 4.0 multiplier. Is it worth crafting just for Bartz? If there was ever a situation that you're like, okay, this boss is omni-resist, I don't have anybody that does, particularly good non-elemental damage, Bartz needs to be my guy, then yeah. But otherwise, I don't think so. Flare Strike, I believe, I would say belongs to Bartz, where Flare belongs to Vivi. Someone on Reddit was trying to make the case of Flare Strike on Bartz over Life Siphon. Did they convinced themselves? Or were they trying to convince other people? So 4.0, generating, because you're not exploiting weakness, so what, are you generating 80 soul break points? Uh, 80 soul break points over 150. No. No. The only reason you're doing anything non-elemental versus a boss that you can exploit vulnerability is because you need that extra soul break generation. I cannot. No. I can. No. I'm sorry. No, Bart's using Flare Strike over Life Siphon is. Okay, Lemonade, that is a good point. You don't just bring Celeste to a fight to exploit weakness and deal damage. You bring Celeste to a fight sometimes to use her Grand High Runic. I forget what we're calling it. So yeah, if you want to bring Celeste to a fight that, you know, her dealing holy or ice or wind damage is not really a thing, or maybe one of the elements that she gets from 5-star abilities, if those aren't useful to her in a fight where you want to use her Grand Runic thing, then yeah, Flare Strike, okay. No, Grand Cross is the old terminology. Hold on, I'll go find it. Is it Grand Runic? It's too much overlap with Grand Cross. I don't like it. High Runic. I know I said it once in there somewhere. Okay, so after Flare Strike, we get the Twin Strikes. They move up to Quad Strikes. That's it. Same thing with the Black Magic Chains. 2 to 4 hits. Removing the effectiveness of a lot of burst soul breaks. Dragoon, Sky High becomes still bad. The multiplier... Oh wait, no, the multiplier's not that bad, right? 4.72? What's Aerial Dive's multiplier? 4.52? Okay, well, Sky High is better than Aerial Dive. Barely. Worth throwing crystals at? No. Sky Grinder cast time is reduced from 1.65 to 1.5. Alright. Sky Grinder is a non-elemental area of effect for Dragoons. I use it to clear trash. Dragoon Jump blissfully goes from 2 to 4 hits. And increases its multiplier to 4.92. So Dragoon Jump is actually a pretty decent form of non-elemental damage for Dragoons. That's cool. I kept my Dragoon Jump, even though I haven't used it in a very long time. Because, yeah, that's going to be good for some Sid missions. And maybe elsewhere, who knows. I don't have any good Dragoons, so... But I think if I had a good Dragoon... Are there any that can dual cast? I don't think dual casting Dragoons are a thing, are No, they're not. What kind of Dragoon-oriented Legend materia do we have? Dragoon abilities deal 15% more damage. Ricard, non-elemental Dragoon extraordinaire. I have Kane's BSB. I don't have a good Dragoon, because Kane's BSB isn't good. Dragoon abilities deal 25% more damage when equipping a spear. Kane. Freya, it's a 25% chance to throw a pillow at the enemy after using a Dragoon ability. No. Fang gets the same thing. But he has an LMR that increases their damage when equipping a spear. Is this really all we're going to get? Estinine. Oh, here we go. Dragoon abilities deal 15% more damage, 30% chance to grant quick cast 3 to user after using a Dragoon ability. It's better. This is our first real non-elemental Dragoon. Okay, Monk. Fires Within. This is one of the biggest buffs in on this list. Goes from 2 to 4 hits, but the multiplier gets a huge boost from 3.0 to 3.4. This becomes the premier Fire Monk ability. Not only is it a 3.4 multiplier, which is actually pretty high. No, Aranea got some stacking attack buff when using Dragoon abilities. It was crap. Fires Within also is a self-heal, which is, you know, it's always going to be useful because damage is always going to be a thing unless you're fighting Living Flame. Which one's Dawn Symphony? Everything that is not rank 5, and the one at rank 5, Dragoon Jump, which I just went over, could be useful to you in Sid missions, or later on it could be useful to you if you've got a Dragoon that can make use of it, but probably not. So if you don't do Sid missions, or you don't have any intention of on ever using Dragoon Jump in a Sid mission, then yeah, you can shatter them all. Yeah, Fires Within is a higher than Spellblade multiplier. This is one of the best abilities that we see after this. This is a fantastic. And Zell, Sabin, and Refia, and Ida are all very happy about that. Very, very happy. Burning Rush is also a Fire Dragoon ability. Not Dragoon. Monk ability. But it has a 2.88 multiplier over 4 hits. And it doesn't heal you. Instead, it gives you a 20% chance to... a plus 20% chance to crit. Which does not make up the multiplier difference between 2.88 and 3.4 at all. Not even close. It's actually... I believe personally that Burning Rush is shatterable. Gaia Rush is not, because Gaia Rush does not have Fires Within looming over it. But the problem with Gaia Rush is that it doesn't really have an Earth Monk that can make all that much use out of it. I suppose the best use of Gaia Rush would be on a non-elemental monk, to be honest. Like Master or Prish, which would allow those non-elemental monks to exploit elemental weakness. Because I think the best one would be Yang. And yeah, Yang does want to use Gaia Rush more than his first command, because Gaia Rush is more powerful than his first command. Oh, Tifa. Yeah, Tifa. Okay. I don't know why I didn't think of her. Well, Tifa's bad, unfortunately. But at least it does give her an Earth option. Yeah, Blyven, I missed that event. I was unable to pick it up. No, I mean Yang. Yang is better than Ursula. Yang has Unbound Fury, the status, which allows him to dual cast or half cast time everything. So while Ursula is stuck with a ninja cast time command, which, as I've been saying, burst commands stink now. Yang gives him Unbound Fury, which gives him half cast time on everything that he does. So he can half cast time out Gaia Rush, while Ursula is stuck half cast timing out a command. Gaia Rush is easily better. Okay, Thief abilities. Mug Bloodlust does change, and it changes for the better. 2 hits, which is nice, because Mug Bloodlust has a 3.2 multiplier. Even at non-elemental, that's pretty cap-worthy. Care less about the debuff rate, the attack and defense minus 30%. But I think the real key here is Mug Bloodlust moves up to a plus 30% attack and defense for the character that uses it. That's pretty significant for a self buff. So this was a good change to a 6-star ability, which is one of the nice ones that you only have to have at R1. So this doesn't require any honing, so it's not a crystal investment. Since you buy this ability, you don't actually create it. Mug Time. Number fits 1 to 2. No longer requires slow to connect to grant haste to the user. Alright, well, that ability sucks. Dash and Slash moves from 2 to 4 hits, which is great. So Dash and Slash and Poison Leaves are the same ability, except Dash and Slash is wind, Poison Leaves is poison. This is a great change. All of you Zidane USB users out there and Vaughn USB users out there, this is awesome for all of you because it actually gives those characters a really powerful way to inflict wind damage, especially Zidane. Zidane, everyone else, typically has a burst mode that gives them a 4-hit command that allows them to, to do their elemental type damage. Zidane didn't have that. Not only does his Burstle Break 1 not have elemental commands, but his Burstle Break 2 had 2-hit elemental commands. They were more utility than they were damage. So Dash and Slash finally provides Zidane with a way to deal some significant damage and not being capped at 20,000 a turn. And not only is it significant, but it's better than that. With a dagger equipped, it's 3.8 multiplier, which is quite large. And Poison Leaves is the same thing. Knight, Aegis Strike, 6-star Knight ability, moves from 2 to 3 hits for 3.9 multiplier. So that's not even a low multiplier. Aegis Strike is a holy area of effect Knight attack. I forgot about Aegis Strike. That's not bad, even against single target. Guardbringer, at best, is 5 hits over 4 with a 4.0 multiplier. So, for a character that's not exceeding 30,000 damage a turn, that's not bad. Okay, well, there are very, very specific situations in which this ability could be strong. The problem with it is it's a spam ability. So you want to use it a lot, probably R3, and it's a 6-star, so that's a crystal investment. Yeah, it does. But that's okay. So I don't think Aegis Strike is still all that useful. I wouldn't shatter it because it's a purchase ability. I just wouldn't hone it. So this is kind of a thing for the future, honestly. Are there any native 6-star wind daggers? No, there are not. Nor are there any native 6-star wind swords. But I guess for the purpose of dash and slash, no, there are not. You would need a 5-star. So St. Cross moving from 1.8 to 1.65 is a long overdue change, and low regen moving to high regen doesn't really do anything. This is still an old ability. Hello, Skillet. What's up? There are spears, but spears do not trigger the increased multiplier for a dash and slash. Skillet. What's up? Can I do something for you? I'm gonna have to kick you off because I do need to see my screen. Alright. She didn't stay long. So St. Cross is still falling off because it's limited to 2 hits. Boy, this used to be the ability back in the day. But with it only being 2 hits, that's a problem. 3 is cutting it close. 2 is rough in this day and age. Samurai Flashing Blade gets an interesting cast time effect. It starts out at 1.65, just like, you know, most abilities, but every time you use it, it reduces. So it's really good at clearing trash. Better than anything at clearing trash. Not good enough. I shattered mine. Hailstorm is a very powerful ability. That increases your attack by 30% and reduces your resistance by 30%. That is good. That's a great buffing ability by itself, but oh yeah. It moves to 4 hits and also has a pretty damn good multiplier as well. Hailstorm actually becomes fantastic. It is a Spellblade that increases your attack. It's one of the best abilities in the game. Not many people can use it. But it's awesome. Okay, Stitch in Time. So we're at Ninja now. Is Hailstorm better than Ayame's BSB commands? Depends, eDaddy. I would say in most situations, yes. Personally. When could her BSB commands be better? No, it's not a Spellblade. It's a 3.0 or 3.2 multiplier. So it's the same multiplier as a 5-star Spellblade Shadow. So it's like a Spellblade but for samurai. Yeah, I am just talking about the multiplier. Now, Orlando can use it. Ayame is the only Ice Samurai. Who else would make use of Hailstorm? Gilgamesh? Anyway, Ninja Section, Stitch in Time. Stitch in Time moves to being a magic buff to being a hybrid buff. It's moves from magic and defense plus 30% to attack and magic plus 30% and defense minus 30%. And all this is unique statuses, so this will stack with everything. Yeah, I know Hailstorm is good on any samurai that has plus. You know, anybody that has Samurai 5 can make good use of Hailstorm. I guess I was just thinking of people that would spam it as a damage ability. Cloud definitely qualifies. Cloud likes to exploit vulnerability, and he does not have access to a snow spell strike, so Hailstorm's how he gets there. So Stitch in Time does become useful. The attack and magic plus 30% is pretty cool to self-buff your ninjas. The unfortunate part about that is your ninjas, your physical ninjas, are often going to be using 2 5-star ninja abilities. So it's tough to fit in Stitch in Time. I'm trying to think of a situation in which Stitch in Time would be used by someone other than Fusion. Or Tyro. So they're the only Black Mage ninjas. So the reason why I single out Black Mage ninjas is because there's generally 0 reason to give yourself a magic buff if you're using Ninja Magic, because the Ninja Magic soft cap is a lot lower. It's so low that you don't need any more buffs than what you naturally get during the course of a fight. So the Black Magic soft cap is like 600 magic higher. So Fusion and Tyro can use it a hell of a lot better. Yuffie for ninjas, has a very high base magic. If you're using ninja magic, there's no reason to use Stitch in Time. Attack buff on Shadow. But the problem with that is you want to be using the 2 5-star abilities, the ones that give you physical blink, and the one that gives you, or does 7 hits. That will do 7 hits eventually. Right. Shadow, Edge, Yuffie, with their USBs, all need both slots for the Dark Ninja, for the 5-star ninja skills. So I believe that Stitch in Time actually hasn't changed in its usefulness. It really is just for Fusion and Tyro. Mostly Fusion. You don't use Tyro as a Black Mage that often. Okay, so Doppelblade. Doppelblade is the area of effect ninja ability. Well, they got it to ninja cast time. That's nice. Still just for clearing trash, I think. You prefer Shadow's commands? Lemonade. Water Mirage and Shadow Mirage, which are the physical blink generating 5-star abilities, get increased from 1 hit to 2 hits. That's it. Which is nice, because these actually capped quite often. So you get more damage out of those. Machinist. Penalty strike. Number of hits, 2 to 3. Hold on 1 second. Skill, you're the most ungraceful cat. Okay. Awful. I'm just not going to talk about it. Penalty strike sucks. Spark offering, cold offering, heat offering. Fire offering. Whatever. The total multiplier. Oh my goodness. Goes from 1.28 to 2.0. What? These abilities are bad. It just goes to show how bad 1.28 is, because that's a significant multiplier increase. These abilities just stink. That's a good point, Shimra. Yuffie can generate physical blink with her flash tech. So she may not need the blink generating 5-star ability, so she could use Stitch in Time. Good call. So, I did just dish on 4 different machinist abilities, but I actually like machinist. It just has nothing to do with these abilities. Tempest Snipe is getting friends soon. Tempest Snipe is a 6-hit lightning attack for machinists. They also get an ice and a fire version. That's the strength of machinists. Okay, darkness. There's some changes going on here. Sanguine Cross goes from 2 to 4 hits. But multiplier stays unchanged. The big change is it moves from 25% of your HP as a cost to 15%. I don't like it. I suppose Sanguine Cross could, yeah, you know what, I don't like it, and I'll get into why. Dark Zone goes from 2 to 4 hits. Not only does it go from 2 to 4 hits, but it gets a 0.5 multiplier increase as well. So, Dark Zone... yeah. That is a 14.0 multiplier on a magical attack. This is the most powerful magic attack in the game. Oh, well, I guess Morbid Countdown could be too, as long as you're under 5 seconds on your Doom counter. But that's really just not a honable ability. Dark Zone just, I think, becomes fantastic. With a 2.0 over the, you know, Holy and the Chain Black Magic. Reaping Scythe is really good. This is the reason why I don't really care for Sanguine Cross. 15% isn't that big of a hit, okay? It's not. And 3.8 is a high multiplier, so it's not that big of a price. So this ability would be okay in a world where Reaping Scythe didn't exist. Reaping Scythe is the physical version of Dark Zone, where you get a higher multiplier if you're under Doom. And there is Death Rose, a 4-star darkness ability that does Doom you. And in doing so, you get a 4.0 multiplier, which is higher than 3.8, and you're not hurting yourself in the meantime. Reaping Scythe is going to definitely be a more popular ability as physical darkness characters become, you know, more prominent. And probably the most prominent will be Orlandu. Orlandu is going to love the presence, the existence of Reaping Scythe. Because Orlandu can't use Sanguine Cross or Crimson Cross. He will kill himself. Orlandu has an ability double for either darkness or night abilities, so he casts them twice. Is Throws Sith a good mix for Sephiroth? Can be, yeah. The thing is, Sephiroth actually has a good burst, one of the few good ones left in the game. No, Orlandu actually gets bumped up to Darkness 5 with the event that he gets his USB. He gets buffed. Orlandu gets buffed. I repeat, Orlandu gets buffed. And so he really needed it. The abilities are stronger than the burst, but the burst has 5 hits. And the thing about Sephiroth is that he can stack his end arcs, and he actually has a really interesting combo that allows him to stack his end arcs up to 3 fairly simply. So he does 100% extra damage. 100% extra dark damage, which means his capability of exceeding 40,000 damage is pretty good. It's pretty good. So, his burst command allows him to exceed that 40,000 cap that Death Rose has. Anyway, Reaping Scythe is still going to be a good ability. Crimson Cross and Sanguine Cross are either a 15% life drain or a 25% life drain. And if you put those on Orlandu, then now you're looking at a 30% or a 50% life drain. And yeah, that's not going to fly. So he needs to use Reaping Scythe. What else could Orlandu do? What other darkness ability could he double cast that would be worth a damn? Dire Weapon, but that's a 3.0. This is a big difference between 3.0 and 4.0. Okay, Morbid Countdown. Morbid Countdown is the one that has an increased multiplier the lower your Doom counter, right? Oh, no, it reduces your Doom timer by 3. That's dangerous. How many times can you realistically use that? That's not that bad. And say a fight is limited to 30 seconds, and you either Death Rose or Memento Mori on the first turn, giving you a 45-second Doom counter. That gives you 5 uses of Morbid Countdown in a 30-second fight. And that's pretty strong. The multiplier is 15.2. It's even better than Dark Zone. See, I think the problem there is why have both Morbid Countdown and Dark Zone, I guess? And Dark Zone is going to be useful in more situations. And a 14.0 is also already in danger of capping in most cases. Probably not in most cases. There's going to be a lot of Memento Mori Dark Zone situations where you don't have End Dark. I think if you have End Dark, then you're probably capping. Anyway, I think Morbid Countdown is worthy of consideration depending on the person. I think personally, I would probably go heavier on Dark Zone, and it's not like Dark Orbs are, not the most used orb in the game. So you don't really. A lot of people don't have the luxury of creating both of these. You create one, and you hone one. Especially with the presence of Dire Heal and Dire Weapon, which are both useful darkness abilities as backups. That 10.4 is rough. It's kind of low. But Dire Heal is also very, very powerful. When it moves to 4 hits, Would be very few situations, I think, where this doesn't full heal you. Unless you're, like, casting at the start of the fight. Well, Morbid Countdown reduces your Doom timer, Asher. So actually, you wouldn't want to use it in that situation, because Cloud of Darkness's BSB2 gives you a 30-second Doom. But you do want to use... what's the other ability? You would consider using Dwindling Spirit, I think? Yeah, Dwindling Spirit and Necrofear. That has a higher multiplier if your Doom counter is below 20. I don't know, I still don't think so. Your multiplier, if your Doom counter is below 20, is 12.0. So Death Throes and Dark Zone would both be better. So the only time that Dwindling Spirit or Necrofear would be better than them would be under 5 seconds Doom. That's not good enough. I think these abilities are useless. Anyway, Crimson Cross. Crimson Cross gets a damage buff to 4.4, which is a very high multiplier for a 5-star ability. It just costs 25% of your health. And that's okay because there's a few Darkness characters that either get a large HP stock, like Leon, or get chases that heal themselves. So after you use Darkness abilities. So you would use Crimson Cross in those situations. So this is a good ability for them. So a lot of these Darkness abilities depends on what you're using, who you're using them with. But Crimson Cross is like Gefgarian Garland, right? Garland, Leon. I thought there was one other. Anyway, Sharpshooter, some very simple changes here. This is exactly like the buff to Dash and Slash and Poison Leaf. 3.8 with a ranged weapon instead of a 3.7. And 3.3 to 3.4. So it just gets a 1.0 multiplier buff, but just like all the rest of the good stuff, it goes from 2 to 4 hits. There's our ability upgrade. Is there anything that I missed in chat that I can now focus on chat and take a look at? Is it accurate to say accounts should make sure they have enough dark damage to be able to farm the major dark orbs off the magicite, especially when the entry stamina cost is reduced? Well, farming major dark orbs requires holy damage, not dark damage. But assuming that you meant holy damage, I would advise it, yeah. If there is any magicites worth farming, it would be Sea Lion. At the moment, Sea Lion and Shadow Dragon. If you're farming them just for their orbs. Also Bismarck. I think I personally have put a high value on summon orbs because there's so many good 5-star summon abilities. Yes, we did, Shadow. Is Fires Within better than Refia's Command 1? Yes. And you're using Sapphire Shot, which means you have 6-star Blitz Balls with Water Boost too, so you're doing hilarious amounts of damage. Yep. That's why Waka and Titus's Blitz Balls are such good relics. I think the new ability school in JP is interesting. Looks like they're going to stop people from using Wrath Siphon even more, needing 2 abilities to actually get use out of them. Maybe. I don't think... I don't think there's a lot of people that can use the heavy combat stuff very well yet. We'll see what they do with the class. Sync obviously uses it extremely well. there will have to be other people that develop soul breaks and to make that a mature ability school. But at the moment, it's limited to sync. I don't think anyone else uses it. Gladio sync is a lot of people. That's outside the scope of what we're talking about right now. We're talking about maintenance. I talked about the ability school thing, I think it was, last night in the Type 0 distant preview. Close. You almost got me off track. Close. Nice try. Okay, nothing else to talk about on the ability balance changes then. We move on. Well, this is... Alright, I think I'm going to go to the KBP thread, because this isn't very helpful. Okay, so we got some dates, courtesy of Fatty Boom Chacha, who's the administrator of Kongbak Pao. I guess first, I'll talk about the side note. He's been doing this for a while, but now he says, this is most likely my last monthly update post on this sub. Real life has consumed me up to this point where I no longer have the luxury of time to further contribute to the community. This also means that Final Fantasy Record Keeper Google Calendar will most likely discontinue. Very sorry. I'll still continue playing leisurely and record videos occasionally, but I'll be taking a back seat when it comes to posting on Reddit. That said, I'll find one day to write a post on how to locate event timestamps in the game codes. Hopefully someone can start a new calendar for the community. For a start, you will need tools like Fiddler or something similar to retrieve game codes and data. The rest of the details I will write in a separate post. Cheers. This will be missed. I base a lot of my maintenance debriefings that we're doing right now off of this information. So if I'm going to post the link in chat, if anyone wants to just, make a comment in here about, how much we appreciate the contribution to the community, because we totally, absolutely do, or I do. And another thing to note here is that he will be giving or making a post about how to figure all this stuff out, and I will make my best effort to assume the mantle, and I will create a schedule of my own, and every time maintenance comes around, I will try to mine these dates on my own and have them available for the maintenance debriefings, which will definitely benefit me in, creating the event list for the site as well. So, because I do have access to being able to install Fiddler and being able to mine the data. It could have been something I did a while ago, just relied on Fatty until now. Anyway, looking at the dates that we got from this latest maintenance. Oh, Lemonade, Chain Blazaga. Dungeon Update 39, December 5th. That makes sense. The dungeon updates have been pretty consistent in being in the first week of the month. Dungeon Update 39 is... Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 7, and Final Fantasy 12. That sounds like a bad one. For me. Most of them are. Most of them are. Crystal Tower Beta 2, we're going to get another Crystal Tower in early December, so in 2 weeks. And Final Fantasy 13, December 14th. Is there some place where the other dates were posted? Because I'm not seeing Final Fantasy 9 here. Tactics is already confirmed for November 30th. Or Final Fantasy 12 is not on this list. Oh, it is. They delayed it by a week. So they swapped. 13 is going to be on the 14th, and 12 is going to be on the 21st. Yeah, okay. A previous update post had... Okay, but the banner wasn't translated. All right, that's just a regular, that's all. So where do we go from there? We do not have an event for December 28th. So December 21st hits, and then 7 days later another event would usually hit. But this is expected. Remember, I talked about this when I talk about my event list. I haven't been assuming that they're skipping a week, but I should be. I should have had my ETAs, assuming that a week got skipped. So December 21st, and then the 28th skip a week, and then the next event would be 6. Is this correct? Yeah. So after doing the debriefing, I will fix all of these dates for the people that, rely on this for getting, accurate ETAs on events. What I'll need to do is swap these 2 events and push this event a week back, because it doesn't look like there's going to be an event on the 28th. Which makes sense, because I think Winter Festival is going to be pretty damn big. So them putting an event inside of Winter Festival, which would be December 28th, would be right in the middle of Vietnam, probably would be a bad thing. That would overwhelm players. And after 6 is Type 0. January 4th. Okay, so this is interesting. Things get dicey from this point on. We do see Onion Knight event on January 10th. For those keeping track, or for those that heard me talking about this, the Final Fantasy III event is not a real event. It only has 1 banner. It's like a special event, just like Cloud's Awakening was, and it is off the schedule. So I wouldn't be surprised to see another event this week, because January 10th, if I remember correctly, is a Wednesday. It is. It's a Wednesday, so there would normally be an event 7 days after Final Fantasy VI that would not be Final Fantasy III. Sort of Pew. It is January 4th, so it's probably going to be after all the phases of the banners. It's not going to be like Final Fantasy VI was, or the Celeste banner was. which was just playing during the festival. But I think with the Ultros event and whatever the Global Exclusive 2 is airing the week before, we may get another event skip. We may get the Onion Night on Wednesday, but nothing on January 11th. Right. Jolyn. So that's why I was going to get to after I got... Oh, shit. Got through all of this is... They do skip the 11th. And not only do they skip the 11th, but they skip the 17th as well. All the way to the Thursday of January 24th for the next event after Final Fantasy III. That's a lot of empty space. I don't think anyone should put too much stock in this event schedule. These dates are probably concrete, but there's missing dates. And these missing dates will probably be updated in a maintenance in early January. That's my belief. Yeah, Jalen. Another maintenance at upstates. Yep. That's what I think is going to happen. This is not the first time that this has happened. We've had events get pushed back. And that would be type 0 and 11 in this... not 11, 14. But mostly type 0 in this situation. Pushed back while things that were ahead get sucked forward. That would be what I believe is going to happen. So where's type 0? I had it ETA'd for January 4th. So that's getting pushed back, 3 weeks? And then 14 is going to be after that, so that's getting pushed back as well. We may get some of this stuff earlier than we thought we would. Probably not 9, and probably not Tactics, because this Tactics event is already really close to the one, because we haven't even had the Tactics event. That's how close these two are. They're less than 2 months apart. I wouldn't expect this one to get sucked forward. But Final Fantasy 1 absolutely qualifies. That could easily happen in January, or earlier January than I already had it projected. Final Fantasy VIII. We did have a Final Fantasy VIII event recently, but not so recently that I couldn't see this happening in January rather than February. Final Fantasy IX, I wouldn't say so, because we have a Final Fantasy IX event coming. 5 might qualify. So anyway, there's gonna be some shaking up, I think. How bad is the power creep? I don't think it's that bad. When are we getting that May event? I still hold true to what I said, is that I don't think we're ever going to get it. Okay, so those were the events. What else are we looking at? We do have a bit of a schedule for Winter Festival. Conquest first anniversary. So this is... Conquest is their name for raids, right? Multiplayer. That's interesting. I love multiplayer. Multiplayer makes for great streaming. Hard multiplayer makes for better streaming. So I'm personally a big fan of that. Ends January 11th. So, well, December and January is probably going to be the most busy my stream has ever been, and I cannot wait. This festival is going to be gigantic. There's the Onion Night banner after it. and there's going to be a lot of multiplayer to be done. I'm probably going to be streaming every day for a month, and I can't wait. It's going to be great. So, Rebirth Dungeon plus Relic Fest, possibly a mashup of Superfest 1 and 2, Global Exclusive 1, on December 25th. So this is the festival itself. Rebirth Dungeons, just like the ones we had before, I would say. Just rehashes of old dungeons. Cool, whatever. Moats, you know. Relic Fest. It says possibly a mashup of Superfest 1 and 2. I mean, this is what we've been saying, but this isn't confirmation or anything. This is the easiest target for speculation, right? Since Japan didn't have a real festival at this point in their game, they had Superfest 2, and since we didn't have Superfest 1, it stands to reason that you could combine Superfest 1 and 2 into a festival that we could have for our Winterfest. It makes the most sense, but it really it's kind of up in the air. So that's going to be another reason why the stream for me is going to be awesome, because there's going to be some real excitement around stuff that we haven't been able to mine 6 months beforehand, right? This is going to be a truly unique festival that Japan didn't have. At least in the way that it's a mashup of two other things, you know? And global exclusive timestamp, I have no idea what that could be. So that's your festival. Moat Dungeon revamp 1 day after the festival starts, during the daily change. That's going to be good. For those of you who are unaware, the Moat Dungeons are coming back, but they're getting revamped into something, and I know a lot of you are probably going to roll your eyes at this, but I think most of you are going to be happy about it, is that you get extra rewards the faster you clear these Moat Dungeons, and those extra rewards include 4-star moats. So all of you that are unhappy with the low amount of wisdom moats in the game right now, and there are, I suffer from it too, they will become farmable in the same way that orbs are farmable in magicite. Next would be Protect the Esper. Assuming that's probably just like a browser game, like we had with the collecting the presents last time. So all I see when I read that line is Mithril. Free rewards. Do the moat dungeons give 3-star moats? I don't know what the actual rewards are. I can look it up. Does anyone have a link? In case I'm unable to find this right now. It's not a browser game? Okay. Even better. I haven't seen a post discussing this, but JP just got updated for Went Dungeons. Looks like they updated the dailies a couple weeks ago. These are D180. Wow. 60 stamina, but full throttle with 1 bar. Farmable dailies that switch to a new type of fragment every 2 days. If you can finish within 30 seconds, you get 10 4-star fragments. If not, you only get 6 of them. If you come anywhere close to 30 seconds in magicite, these should be a piece of cake. Yeah, at D180, people aren't going to have a problem with this. I am 30 seconds on magicite and beat this with a suboptimal team in under 11 seconds. Didn't even bother with weakness, just omega dived all the way with cloud USB and Zac chain. The only tricky part is it limits your RW options to Dr. Mog's wall. Whatever. So Protect the Esper, as Shimmer says, is an actual event. Sounds cool. Like, could be a neat mechanic. I don't know. That'll just be part of the festival festivities, and I'll go over that when we have our whole festival debriefing, because that'll be another maintenance that happens. Next would be DU40, January 9th. It doesn't happen on the first week of January, but at least it's in the single digits. DU40 is Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy XI, and Final Fantasy Tactics. Oh, the return of Tactics on the dungeon update. Now we have a visit by Blender. What's up, Blender? You can see his tail on stream right now. Hi. Yeah, you can sit in my lap. That's fine. Just don't stand on the desk so I can't read. I'm excited. So that's DU40. Here's something people have been totally happy to see, or jaded, I suppose is the word for a lot of people too, as a water relic banner, and it featured Edge and Titus's USBs on the banner itself, the actual image banner. So those will be on the relic banner. I had this open earlier. Do I still? Yeah, I do. This was the same banner that Japan got. But obviously ours is going to be different. What are you doing, Blender? It has 4 6 stars on it, so that's cool. But one of them was Maya's OSB, which is absolutely not going to be a thing for us. So we have Edge USB. That's good. We know only 2 relics that are going to be here, but I'll be clear with that. We know 2. We know Edge's USB is going to be here and Titus's USB because that's what's on the image itself. So that's some really good water stuff. If hopefully you didn't commit too hard on the Final Fantasy X event. Because Edge's USB and Titus's USB are 2 of the best water soul breaks in the game. What I expect to be on here, this is pure speculation on my part, is that we have not received any indication that we're going to be getting record mission banners, and one of the record mission banners was a water themed banner that had was the first release of Yuffie and her BSB2. And Kamari's USB. So, because we're not getting record missions, but we have translated now Yuffie's BSB2 and Kamari's USB, I wouldn't be surprised to see one of the 6 stars taken up by Kamari's USB. That leaves one of the 6 stars open. Probably not the chain. I would expect personally, probably Yuffie's USB 1 to take up the 4th slot. So, if my prediction is correct, it will be Edge, Kamari, Tidus, and Yuffie's USBs, which is actually a top of a banner that I am not opposed to at all. Yep, Kamari's USB is the Water Radiant Shield. We can go take a look at that. It's a tri-buff Water Radiant Shield. Attack, magic, and resistance plus 30%, and Water Radiant Shield. Pretty good. If there's an issue here, and there is, it's Kamari himself. Black Magic 3, Combat 4, Support 3, but can record dive up to Support 4. Dragoon 5. There's nothing in here other than Black Magic 3 that allows him to use water. And so what does Kamari do? Dragoon Jump. That's the best thing he's got going for him on a team where he's bringing Water Radiant Shield. He cannot shoot her. The Ultra itself is really good, but Kamari needs some Water Dragoon abilities. If Kamari gets Water Dragoon abilities, good stuff. But he himself is pretty trash. Dragoon Jump is a good thing it got buffed, right? Ninja cast speed ninja? Who? Oh, okay, never mind. You guys are not talking about what I'm saying. Good. Disappointed that someone was trying to take down my my evaluation of Kamari. Okay, so that's a Water Relic banner. That could be good. Another Crystal Tower. So the Crystal Tower is going to be a thing now, which I like. I kind of liked the Crystal Tower that we just got. It was kind of it was an interesting night. So one of these a month is pretty cool. And here I think is one of the biggest announcements. Is that we're getting 4-star Magicite early. The end of January. It is not the end of March. That is a 2-month bump for my projections. So, well, good luck on your Onion Knight pulls. And this is going to make this this festival really important. Really important. I'm gonna have to go over it with a fine-tooth comb on these festival banners for the best stuff. It's got to be the best stuff. Let's hope we get chains. Let's hope we get chains with this festival. Lots of them. Unknown, Jalen. I think if that falls more into, since this is late January, we're probably going to get another maintenance to give us some more dates and more stuff. I think this stuff out here is a little just spotty, and there's going to be stuff filled in. We don't know that, Gutsy. We hope that it will be. The banner images cannot be trusted. What banner images? We have banner images for the festival. Hi, Dreamlord. Yeah, that's why I think too, E-Daddy. Yeah, we don't have the actual festival banners. We do have the water pickup. Yeah. These aren't banner images. These are just translated relics. Early January Strider. Or mid-January, January 14th. And yes, there have been some chains that have been translated that were originally part of Superfest. I do expect those to be here. Chain Festival makes me think that it's a combination of Superfest 1 and 2. Which would mean a lot more than just the chains that we see here. So... well, welcome back, Don. It was also released in Japan, but it's going to be different for us than it was for them. Because we don't have Maya, so that's 2 slots on the banner that are already taken and gone. Final Fantasy VI is coming in January, yes. So our banner is just going to be different from Japan's, but they also got something similar. Final Fantasy VI is dated for January 4th, so not too long after the festival. The Ultros event, we get a free USB for that, or a free relic. These 2 relics are probably going to be on Bra Bra 3. Echo's BSB2 and Edward's LMR. Garland's OSB was translated. Might be on the festival. When's the last one that wasn't? and not to our knowledge. There is a Final Fantasy VI event coming up in Japan, I think this week? Yes, Lemonade. But we do expect Locke's Fire Chain earlier than that. In the festival itself. Oh yeah, because I haven't magnified those. Hi. Is there anything else I haven't gone over? Or have we milked the maintenance for what it's worth? Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are, if they made like rage pulls. It wouldn't be that much early, Lemonade, because the start of the festival is on the 25th. So, at the earliest, it would be December 25th. Or at the latest, it would be January 7th, which would be the release of the second banner. Dream Relic Draw? Oh, yeah. This is going to be part of the festival, I think. Each draw comes with a choice of one Legend Material Relic or Super Soul Break Relic for select heroes. Japan also got this.
Before we reach our intermission, we will perform Final Fantasy XIII Fabula Nova Crystallis by the composer Masashi Yamauzu. And then after that...
Titus's OSB is just an OSB. The really good part about it is that it's a plus water sword, and the only one of its kind. And this relic draw is gem exclusive, which means it is off limits to me. It depends on the person, Never. Everyone's got a different valuation of gems. To me, no. It's not worth it. That's what I think it is, Shadow, yes. You make 2 full price pulls in the same way that we made pulls for the Crystal Tower and the gem draw in the last festival. It's full price pulls on, the gigantic pool that, don't expect anything good to come out of it. And then you get your choice. So you get to pull twice. $60 for 2 LMR, yeah. Not on my budget. Oh yeah, you need to make 1 pull for 1. Right, exactly what Hugh said. So you pull once and you get 1 LMR and the pull itself. And a second pull will get you a second one. Still not worth it, Max. They would have to save it pretty hard. like 2 LMR turns into 10 LMR, then okay. Now you've piqued my curiosity. I should do a lot of work tonight instead of playing games. I have to update this list because this was a pretty big shakeup as far as ETAs are concerned. Yeah, for one pull, Mex. Then I'd think about it. One pull, 6-star only banner, 2 LMR. And even then, that's... I don't know about that. Is Garland's OSB on this? It is. So they translated Garland's OSB in the files. Kind of lends a little bit of credibility to my belief that this may be moved up. And this is a really nice banner, too. Yeah, that's why it actually just, it unnerves me to have some of these dates be as wrong as they are right now because of the reshuffle. So I should just update them right now. Okay, so we know Final Fantasy IX is going to be December 7th. Final Fantasy 12 swaps places with Final Fantasy 13. Can you link that schedule you're looking at? I'm so lost in the orders now. Yeah. Final Fantasy VI is January 4th. And also moves past the festival. Final Fantasy 3 is January 10th. Type 0, January 24th. And Final Fantasy 14 is February 7th. My god, that is a Goes from January 11th to February 7th. That's crazy. I'm removing the dates from Final Fantasy 1 and Final Fantasy Tactics. That's interesting that Final Fantasy 14 is ETA'd for February 7th. That's a Wednesday. And Type 0 is ETA'd for January 24th. That's a Saturday. Yeah, I agree, Daddy. Having to use Quake Strike is just weird. Well, I'm gonna put the dates down. It's just... I expect a lot of this to be cleared up. We find out if these are actually going to be end up being accurate. The next maintenance we get in early January. Yeah, January 24th is a Wednesday. Why did I think it... Oh, it's a Saturday in February. That's why. February 7th is also a Wednesday. So maybe they move event time from Wednesday or Thursday to Wednesday. Because all three of these, Onion Knight, Type 0, and 14 are all on a Wednesday. What am I going to do? I'm going to feel like one of my toes has been chopped off. The Thursday-Sunday thing has been going on for so long now. It's like, it's a part of me. I wonder if